Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or evening, whatever it may be in your neck of the woods. So, this is a little bit of an experiment. People that know me know that I'm a big David Lynch fan. He's been a big influence on my creativity aspect of life since 1990 when Twin Peaks was on television. I was hooked. We're going to talk about that specifically, but we're also going to talk about some of Final Cut Pro stuff as well. So we might have an amalgam of two different groups of people today commenting and stuff here. So we'll see how that goes. And we do have backyard cam, so you can see all the squirrels down there. We feed them on the driveway, birds and squirrels. It's very, very cold. Actually, it's not too cold. It's only, it's actually 40 degrees. That's pretty warm. But we're going into a frigid period next week. And we might be getting some more of the S word, of the good old S word. We might be getting some more of that. Snow. Have to see how that goes. So, almost a century of episodes. You mean because it's 99, right? 99 episodes of Final Cut TV and Coffee every Saturday as people who are fans of this show and viewers and et cetera, know. And, but 2 years, I think, starts in February. Year 2 starts in February. Absolutely. So we'll see how it goes. We'll start off talking about some. There's not really much Final Cut Pro news, is there? I mean, we got 11 that came out. We got Final Cut Pro 11 that came out in November, and not much has been dead. Radio silence from the Final Cut Pro team since then. There's been no update. We're expecting 11.0.1 bug fix update to come out, and especially considering that Logic 11.1 came out at the same time as Final Cut Pro 11 came out, and they've had 2 updates. They're up to Logic is up to 11.1.2 so far since November, but Final Cut Pro radio silence. There's been no news about an update. We're waiting for a bug fix. It would be nice if they threw in a feature or 2, but so far they have not. I'm not sure why. Are they adding a feature? Is it more complicated? Have they found the bugs and they're more complicated? I always wonder why when they have a major release like 11 that they don't have a wider net to test it out with different configurations. It always has interested me. It seems like sometimes the major features have more bugs than an interim feature, but that's fine. We know they do a good job. The Final Cut Pro team, not Final Cut Protein, which is what it transcribes to most of the time. So, in 1990, back when television was normal, for the most part, it was very normal. I had seen the movie Blue Velvet, David Lynch's Blue Velvet with Kyle MacLachlan, and I liked it. I said, this is pretty good. Dennis Hopper was in it. It was good. It was quirky. And I liked it. That did not make me an instant David Lynch fan, though, at that point. At that point, I don't think I had seen Eraserhead. I heard about it, but I didn't see it. I think my first exposure to Lynch, probably in '89, was Blue Velvet, I think. if my memory is accurate. And then in 1990, they said, well, David Lynch is doing a TV series called Twin Peaks. I said, oh, that'll be interesting. Based on my exposure to Blue Velvet, I said, well, that'll be interesting. Blue Velvet was quirky. It was interesting. Let's see what this Twin Peaks does. So I started watching Twin Peaks, and I enjoyed it. The first couple episodes, who killed Laura Palmer, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But there's one thing that happened that hooked me. There's one specific instance that I remember to this day that said, oh, now you got me. Now you got me. And that was this scene. Oh, sorry, episode 3. We're back. So I'm not going to play too much of any particular scene from Twin Peaks or anything, because I don't want to get any kind of a issue with YouTube or Facebook or anything. I'm going to play short segments, 4 to 5 seconds. But so I'm watching TV, 1990. Twin Peaks is coming on. I saw Blue Velvet. And then I saw this scene from, I think it was at the end of episode 3, live on television, ABC. And there's a lot of stuff going through my mind at that point. I didn't quite understand it. It sucked me right in to the series. It sucked me right in to David Lynch. And I've never left his world since that initial exposure to this one scene. Let's watch a little bit more of it. When I saw that live on television, one of the things that struck me, besides drawing me in, the strangeness of it, we'll watch a little bit more, the strangeness of it. One of the things that sucked me in, I'm thinking, what is normal America thinking right now? The normal ABC viewing audience, what are they thinking? That's one of the things that really intrigued me at that point. Now, from that point on, I was a diehard David Lynch fan. That's exactly the moment that happened that made me a diehard David Lynch fan. Our friend Sean Beckner, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Richard from Austria. Our friend Helmet, very good. So when your comments, I know most of you. I know Sean, I know Nobody. Helmet, thank you very much. Helmet said, I'm not sure are you here for Twin Peaks, or are you here for Final Cut, or are you here for both? I'm not sure which. But we got a lot of people watching already, of course. I just watched the Substance, definitely an audit movie, but I like the shots and editing a lot. You talking about David Lynch, Twin Peaks? Is that what you're talking about? Now, here's one of the things we're going to talk about which is interesting. This is going to go away because this has nothing to do with anything. But one of the things that you may not know, let me see. You may not know this. David Lynch, the acclaimed filmmaker known for his surreal storytelling and unique visual style, has utilized Final Cut Pro as a significant tool in his filmmaking process, particularly noted during the production of his film Inland Empire. This marked a notable shift in his editing approach, allowing him greater control and flexibility compared to traditional film editing methods. Now, Inland Empire, I thought, was shot on a mini DV cam. So he probably, I'm not sure the time period, it was probably classic Final Cut Pro, Final Cut Pro 7. If I recall correctly, that's what he was using at that time, was Final Cut Pro 7. He shot on a mini DV cam. He wanted it to look exactly like that. That's why he did that. So anyway, he's been a big influence. I mean, I've been drawn into his world ever since that scene, the weird scene from the Red Room when the backwards speaking little man was talking and walking backwards. Kyle MacLachlan, of course.
I got good news. That the Moonwash is going to come back in style.
What does that mean? No idea. What gum? No idea. 3 TV series or films who impressed me: Star Trek, Terminator, Bionic Man. Maybe now video editing is going to be a land where no man have gone before. Well, yeah, I like Terminator a lot. It's one of my favorite series and also movies and stuff. But if you don't know, David Lynch passed away yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure which. He had publicly declared in August that he has emphysema. He was a lifelong smoker. He loved smoking cigarettes. He died at 78. He loved smoking cigarettes. I don't know if he gave them up at a certain point or not. I don't know if he gave them up. But he announced in August publicly that he had emphysema and he was not going to be able to produce direct movies in person anymore. I thought he left the door open that he could perhaps do them virtually. Perhaps. I don't know. But from what I've read, the LA fires forced him to evacuate his house in Hollywood, I guess it is. And that didn't go well. And it doesn't really say whether there was smoke or just the threat of the fires that made him move, but he moved from his house to another location and it didn't go well. He got worse and worse, and then eventually he died. At least that's what I've read so far. So, as far as Final Cut Pro goes, I'm not sure if people are watching for Final Cut Pro or David, either one. As far as Final Cut Pro goes, I don't know what's going on. They're like, it's radio silence. They put out Final Cut Pro 11 on November the, 13th? Something like that, at the Creative Summit, and we haven't heard a thing since then. So December the 13th, January the 13th. Let me see what day it was. I'll look up the actual date because I don't remember. Let's see. It was the 13th. Yeah, November the 13th, they announced Final Cut Pro 11 at the Creative Summit. So it's been 2 months, no update. There are known bugs, no update. Logic Pro has had 2 updates since then, bug fixes, but Final Cut Pro has had 0. Radio silence, no word about anything. I've reported bugs. Other people have reported bugs. There's been nothing. So, I mean, it could happen at any time. But a lot of times when they put a major version of Final Cut out, we have a bug fix update within 1 month. Well, now it's been over 2 months, no bug fix update. Have no idea what's going on there. Now, last week we talked about if you use transcribe to captions, if you use that, the captions are actually captions, are not titles, but we have a solution with Intelligent Assistance plugin, Caption Animator. You can turn those transcribe to captions that Final Cut does and turn them into usable titles or subtitles, whatever you like. And you can change the font, you can change the color, you can change position. Any title that you have on your Final Cut Pro system, you can use as a template to take the Final Cut Pro caption information and turn it into actual titles with that plugin. It's on the App Store, Caption Animator. And now you can limit the character size, which is the main thing I was looking for. I've been using DaVinci Resolve for all my captions. You can also text-based editing in DaVinci Resolve, which you can't do in Final Cut yet. You can't do in Final Cut yet, but I do believe that's coming. So we'll have to see how that goes. So there's not much to talk about Final Cut Pro. Thank you, Richard, for taking some time for a short obituary by David Lynch. Yeah, he was, like I said, I would say he's hands down my favorite director, producer, consistently since that scene in Twin Peaks. He has always, since I saw this guy show up on ABC national television, talking backwards, dancing backwards in this strange room.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Ever since then, I've been a big fan. And then in the 90s, in the 2000s, we had Mulholland Drive, which is a great movie. We had Lost Highway, which is a great movie. We had Fire Walk with Me, which is probably one of my favorite movies of all times. It's a very harsh movie. It's a very brutal movie, but it was excellent prequel to Twin Peaks. Now, I remember I used to go to a place called Club Charles on Charles Street in Baltimore, and they had a Twin Peaks trivia contest. And the trivia contest prize was 2 tickets to see, or 4, I think maybe it was 4 tickets, to see Fire Walk with Me at a local Baltimore theater. So I won those tickets. It was 4 tickets because I went, a friend of mine went, and I took my brother, which I don't know if he watched Twin Peaks or not. I can't remember. But we watched it in the theater. We won 4 tickets. I don't remember the question I had to answer at the Club Charles was. I just don't remember, but it was something Twin Peaks related. Maybe it had something to do with, I can't remember. It's been too long ago. But I've been a fan. So we had Mulholland Drive, we had Lost Highway. Wild at Heart was a great, great movie with David Lynch. And we had Fire Walk with Me. We had The Straight Story, which was a Disney movie that he put out. And Inland Empire, I saw that in the theater, the Silver Theater in Silver Spring. I have not revisited that specific movie yet, but I think I will. I think I will at some point. I got a feeling the update plus bug fixes combined with macOS update and the AI as needed. That would be interesting. There's certainly a reason. I hate the fact that they killed season 3 of Terminator TSCC with a cliffhanger. Yeah, that was not good. I agree with that. I watched Fire Walk with Me before I ever watched the show. I started rewatching after the news of his passing this week. Yeah, so I was a huge fan of Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks season 2 ended in a cliffhanger. I'm not going to go over the details because anybody can catch it on. It's season 1 and 2 were the first 2 television seasons. Then Fire Walk with Me came out. So season 1 and 2 were David Lynch, and Mark Frost combination. Mark Frost was involved with Hill Street Blues and a couple of other TV shows. So it worked pretty well together. But Lynch was not a big part of season 2 until I think the first episode and the very last episode. He was not happy that they made them reveal who the killer was. He didn't want to reveal who the killer was, Laura Palmer's killer. It's not a simple answer to that. So he was involved with season 1. It was got a lot of accolades. Season 2, he was involved with the first episode and the last episode. I believe that those are the 2, and those are probably my 2 favorite episodes. In between there's a lot of stuff that I really didn't care about in season 2. Some of the stuff towards the end, but I watched, and then it ended on a cliffhanger. 1991, maybe something like that. And then no more. And then they pulled the plug. There was no season 3. Not at that point. A year or 2 later, we heard rumors and rumblings because I was on LynchNet trying to keep up with any news about any more Twin Peaks, anything Lynch. And then there was rumblings about this prequel, Fire Walk with Me. Well, Fire Walk with Me was like a 2.5-hour movie before and up to the death of Laura Palmer from the TV series. It's very harsh, and it's not TV, so there's no limits. I guess it was R-rated, and there's no limits on what they could show and stuff. And it was one of my favorite movies of all time, but it's not for everybody. I wouldn't carte blanche just say, go ahead and see Fire Walk with Me without knowing more what your tastes were and stuff. So anyway, that came out. It was not widely received. I loved it. I ended up writing a letter to the city paper in Baltimore defending it because they had some kind of a fake critic that panned it, and I took him or her to task. I can't tell because the name was like backwards. It's like Mike Heat spelled backwards, Tae-hee Kim. I remember that, and I thought I know the way the city paper worked, and they used fake names sometimes, Baltimore City paper. And anyway, so that came out, Fire Walk with Me. I liked it, and then there was nothing. Well, he had movies. Like I said, he had movies, but there's no more Twin Peaks. One of the things that Laura Palmer said, I'll see you again in 25 years. Well, almost 25 years, it was like 26 years to the day they announced there's going to be season 3 of Twin Peaks. And season 3, 16 episodes, I think. And I was ecstatic when they announced that. Ecstatic. It's just like season 1 and season 2, Fire Walk with Me, and season 3. Okay, my favorite is Fire Walk with Me by far. Pretty much by far, Fire Walk with Me. Now, the interesting thing about Fire Walk with Me, Mark Frost had nothing to do with it. He didn't want to do a prequel. So it was entirely David Lynch and some other writers. Mark Frost was not involved with Fire Walk with Me at all, not one iota. And it's my favorite version of the Twin Peaks saga. Mark Frost came back with season 3. Season 3 was I was really glad that they did season 3, but it was uneven. It had some great parts and had some parts that I just couldn't even care less about. I'm not going to go into reviewing this right now, but I'm just saying season 3 was really, really good, but it was uneven. So I think Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is my favorite. Probably the first season, season 1, and the first and last episodes of season 2 were my second favorite. Then season 3 is right up there. I mean, it had some great parts, but it had some parts that were just really, really, I could have done without. Too much. It wasn't like a little piece. Long stuff. There was really, and the ending, once again, was peculiar at the ending of season 3. I thought, and I said this, I have a Twin Peaks season 4 Facebook group, and I thought back in, when did that end? 2018, 2017, 2018. I thought at that point, well, there's got to be a season 4, but I said, since David was a smoker, I said, we got a chance at a season 4 if his health, if he continues to be healthy. Well, then COVID hit. And anything he was working on, Netflix came out and said they were going to work something with him, but because of COVID, it never happened. So, and then of course he passed away last week, so we never got season 4. I'm kind of disappointed. I think it could have been a great continuation from season 3. A lot of people like the end of season 3. I'm not a big fan of the ending of season 3. It seemed like, well, I was expecting a season 4, put it that way. That's why I started the Facebook group. But regardless, I'm not here really to discuss that. Just want to give homage and tribute to David. Let's watch a couple more clips with Mr. David. Let's watch this one. I'm not sure what this is from. This is from a documentary I found on YouTube.
I'm so depressed, I don't know what I'm doing. I have not got a clue. I'm so depressed, I don't know what I'm doing. I have not got a clue.
So there he is, just talking about, generally speaking, he's very depressed, et cetera, et cetera. Now, he was a hands-on guy when it came to editing, and he edited Inland Empire and Final Cut Pro, probably Classic, I believe. Final Cut Pro Classic, probably, because it was mini DV camera. He wanted the shaky look and the not high definition. It freed him up from going to the high cost of using actual film and film crews and stuff. Now, like I said, I've only seen Inland Empire one time, and I never had the urge to watch it again. Laura Dern was in it. I saw it at the Silver Theater in Silver Spring, and I liked it, but it isn't like Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks I've watched 3 or 4 times. The first two seasons I watched maybe 4 times, 5 times. Season 3, when it was out, I watched it 3 times. When it first aired, during the week, I watched that episode again, and then I watched it before it ended. So, but Inland Empire, I'll have to go back and watch it. I did buy it on a DVD, I think a European DVD. So I have a copy of it. I just haven't got back to it yet. It was one of his typically strange movies. Lost Highway with Bill Pullman Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, Wild at Heart, Straight Story, Fire Walk with Me. I loved all these movies by Lynch. I loved them all. So when it comes to Twin Peaks, it definitely was David Lynch that got me hooked about Twin Peaks. Definitely David. You can see a lot of birds there on the driveway. Usually there's a lot of squirrels. That's the last snow that we got, and we're due for some more snow. We are due for some more snow. Sunday, they're saying, supposed to come in tomorrow. Now, I have 95% of the heat is I have a wood-burning stove, so I heat with wood. So after I do all of the preparation and the log splitting and the cutting of the logs and getting it stacked for the winter and covered for the winter, I'm good. I can heat up the house for months at a time with the wood that I have. What about Final Cut Pro will make Final Cut Pro start to finish app, forget DaVinci, just Final Cut Pro? You're not going to, DaVinci's not going to go anywhere, not with somebody like Grant Petty at the helm. That's not going to go anywhere. Grant Petty is a force to be reckoned with. David Lynch may be gone, but his work will live forever. Absolutely. I was waiting to rewatch season 3 when I got news of a season 4 or an inkling of something continuation. I don't know if I'll ever rewatch season 3 or any of Twin Peaks. I've seen all of them many, many times, and without a continuation, I really don't have, at this point, the desire to rewatch any of it. Like I said, I've watched the original series 4 times, 5 times, all episodes. Second season was very uneven. It had some episodes that I just couldn't care less about. Season 3 was the same way. It had some great, great episodes, some great typical cinematography, and some stuff that is just completely, in my opinion, throwaway stuff. I just couldn't care less about it. So that's David. And I'm not, when I say throwaway stuff, I'm not talking about the scene in the bar where the guy's sweeping cigarette butts. That didn't bother me at all. That's the kind of thing that Lynch did often. He did that very often. So that's not what I'm talking about. There's some other scenes. I don't really want to discuss it in detail. There's a myriad of opinions about season 3. I think a lot of people liked it. Some people didn't like it. I liked it a lot, but I'd like to have seen other avenues explored more than some of the other avenues. It was a great, great series, absolutely great. All season 1, Fire Walk with Me, season 3, and the first and last episode of season 2 were all phenomenal stuff. Some of the other stuff in season 2, in the middle parts, Lynch was involved. He wasn't involved with it. He kind of bailed on it, came back for the end, and of course it was a cliffhanger. Anyway, here's to David Lynch and all the great works, David, that you gave us. Fantastic stuff. Accolades to my friend, not my friend, but to David. Let me just do this. Turn this off. So David did use Final Cut Pro, but probably not Final Cut Pro 10. This is where David probably is in the last few days. This, of course, is a scene from Fire Walk with Me. David's directing the angel, and maybe now he's talking to an angel. I love this. This is a behind-the-scenes scene from Fire Walk with Me. Very, very powerful scene if you haven't seen the movie. What about Aliens films? Yep, lots of good films out there. I'm a big fan of Lynch, though. Big fan of Lynch. Let's watch another clip. Let's go over here. So here he's asked, Well, let me go over here. Where am I doing? What am I doing? Movies. Here he is asked about to explain something, and this is what he says.
Believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Mm-hmm. What? Elaborate on that.
No, I won't. Believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film.
Mm-hmm. What? Elaborate on that.
No, I won't.
No, he's not going to elaborate. Let's see what this is. This is what David looked like recently.
You have a very good heart, and you are interested in other human beings. You make people feel at ease, and you're very intelligent, and you have a very good heart.
Very good heart. So he had 2 houses. I think they were next door to each other in Hollywood Hills. I think they were next door to each other, and he had to move from one of those because of the approaching fires. Like I said, I don't know if it was the smoke. He was a smoker. I think it was just the threat of the fires. Maybe it was a combination. And that move from his house they lived in to someplace else, his health went downhill from there. So anyway, does anybody have any Final Cut Pro news? Anything to discuss about Final Cut Pro? I've been doing well with Final Cut Pro 11. It's been fairly stable for me. I opened up I have a big film, how many terabytes is it? I forget how many terabytes the film is. I opened that up into Final Cut Pro 11 last week to work on it. We have another version, Director's Cut version 3 coming out. We're going to show it at the Silver Theater on Sunday, March the 3rd. No, not the Silver Theater, at the Greenbelt Cinema on Sunday, March the 3rd at 3 o'clock. And that's a documentary called Raz, the documentary. And I opened that up in Final Cut Pro 11 for the first time because it was edited in Final Cut Pro 10.7 something. Took about a half hour to update. Tried to open it. I opened it, and it said updating components. And I said, it's a lot of information. I walked away, lit my brand new M4 Mac Mini Pro, chug. I could hear the hard drives chugging. Came back about a half hour later, and it was opened. So far, everything's fine. I do have a complete backup of the version prior to updating to 11. I have an old version of my Mac OS that I edited it on. I'm in a complete backup of that as well. So anyway, it worked well. Worked well last Wednesday. Everything seems to be going well. For the most part, plugins are fine. Some plugins are always problematic when you update Final Cut Pro. That's fine. That is fine. So let's watch another clip here. Oh, here we go. This is a famous behind the scenes when somebody says, do you want to shorten that scene a little bit? And it pissed off David.
If you want to cut the time down.
What is this with everybody? What is it? Really? Why? I'm serious. Man, it drives me nuts. Who gives a how long a scene is?
That's a famous scene. This was Twin Peaks season 3. David, one of the things that David does is he stretches scenes out so they're very, very long. And I'm going to just say it because Twin Peaks season 3 has been out for years. If you haven't seen it, this isn't going to spoil anything. There's a famous scene where a guy's sweeping up cigarettes in a bar for a couple minutes. That's all he's doing is 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, whatever it was. And it's done to the music of Green Onions, Booker T and the MG Green Onions. That's a typical thing Lynch does. That doesn't bother me. That was fine. That was completely fine. Didn't bother me at all. So, do we think we're going to see Final Cut Pro 11.0, 0.1 January, hopefully? Because we're already at January the 18th, middle of the month. I hope so. I hope we see it. It's been 2 months. We're dealing with these bugs. Now, the team may have found a bigger bug that's more complicated to fix than what they thought. Maybe they're going to put a couple of features in with this first bug fix. Although, here's what I thought. I thought they'd put out 10.0. 10. No, 10's in the past. Final Cut Pro 11.0.1 in January or before as a bug fix, maybe with a feature, but a bug fix primarily. And then maybe 11.0.2 in time for NAB in April with a couple of features. I do expect, so Final Cut 11 has auto or transcribe to captions. So it takes the audio and transcribes them into captions very fast. The accuracy is about the same as DaVinci Resolve. You got to correct some things. You got to do some hand stuff. But the captions are really for the end user to control, not for the producer, not for us to control. The $20 plugin, Caption Animator, you can let Final Cut Pro do the transcribing to captions, use Caption Animator to make it into titles. And then you turn the captions off, put the titles on, format, color, position, font, whatever you want, make them into titles, turn them on and off as you please. So I do expect them to, I don't think they're done with transcribe to captions. I don't think they're done to that. I think there's going to be more than what they have at this initial point. We'll have to see. I do expect Final Cut Pro 11.1 at the Creative Summit next November, but they can put it at any time. I'm just saying, logistically, it'll come out next November at the Creative Summit, the same way that Logic Pro 11 came out in May. Is that right? Yeah. Or did it come out? Yeah, Logic Pro 11 came out in May, and then Logic Pro 11.1 came out in November. I think that's right. So I think Final Cut Pro could do the same thing. Whatever it does, is that what happened? Yeah, something like that. Or did we get 11 last? I can't remember. Maybe we got 11 a year ago at the Creative Summit. I can't remember Final Cut Pro 11. Anyway, I'm looking forward to Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November again. It's a little early. We're only in January, but I'm looking forward to it. Future media conferences. And it'd be nice if Final Cut Pro is updated for NAB 2025 coming up in April. That would be fun. That'd be very, very cool. All righty. Well, there's not much Final Cut Pro news. Not much Final Cut Pro news at all. So there's not a whole lot to talk about these Saturdays until we get something else. Now, is that right? Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to get out of here for today. I just wanted to come on and give a little tribute to David Lynch, one of my favorites. Twin Peaks is one of my favorites. Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Wild at Heart, The Elephant Man. I forgot about The Elephant Man. What a great, great movie that was. The Straight Story, Fire Walk with Me. Like I said, Inland Empire, I have to see it again. I've only seen it once. Have to see it again. Oh, I got some other news. I should be getting something this week, hardware, that I can talk about next week. I don't want to talk about till I actually get it in my hands, but I'm pretty excited about it. And the other thing was, I was talking about selling my iPhone 15 Pro Max because I got a DJI Action 5. I changed my mind. I'm keeping this is an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I'm keeping my iPhone 15 Pro Max until the iPhone 17 Pro Max comes out in September. At that point, I'll buy the iPhone 17 Pro Max and I'll trade in my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I'll always have two professional iPhones plus my DJI Action 5, which is a fantastic, fantastic little camera. Look at the difference in size. It's a fantastic little camera. You can film with it like this for sure. Has a screen on the front and a screen on the back. If you're doing a selfie, you can watch yourself. Screen on the back. The quality is superb. And I use this all the time for just general shots when I go walking and I want to film. So I have two iPhones, a 15 Pro Max and a 16 Pro Max, the DJI Action 5, and of course my Lumix S5 Mark IIX with a new lens. That's all I need. But I decided to keep my 15 Pro Max until September. At that point, I'll trade it in on my 17 Pro Max, and whatever they give it to me. Right now, I think it's up to $650, $625 or $650 at this point. That may change a little bit between now and September. Have to see, but it'll save me. I don't have to worry about selling it locally. So everybody that tuned in, thank you very much. Give you a big round of applause. Applause to the Logic Pro team who's put out 2 bug fixes already. Final Cut Pro team, please get something out for us. Whatever the reason is, I'm sure there's a good reason, but you're really falling behind even your other pro apps. Forget about DaVinci Resolve. They're way, way far ahead of as far as updates and stuff, which is okay because you said you're going to do it at your own schedule, but it seems it's over 2 months now since we've had to use these bugs in Final Cut Pro 11. So get us something this week, next week, and then keep your eye on NAB. It would be great to have a Final Cut Pro event at NAB this year. That would be a big surprise. Pleasant. There was nothing last year. No Final Cut Pro activity for the public at all at NAB. 0. The last 2 years, very little activity. It would be great to surprise us and do some presentations at at NAB like you have in the past. 2017 and 2018 were phenomenal. You had Final Cut Pro presentations. The rooms were packed. The rooms were packed. This is in the convention center itself. The rooms were packed. NAB is the first week of November. First week of April. Not November. First week of April. I think it's first week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Half a day Wednesday. I usually leave Wednesday morning. So I don't hang around for the half a day. It's kind of like a ghost town. Now, I haven't decided 100% that I'm going yet. We'll have to see how that goes. I will depend on people who buy me a coffee for my coffees if I decide to go. But anyway, I'm getting ready for the snowfall tomorrow. If there's a nice snowfall during the day, I'll probably come back on live on Facebook, YouTube, just to do a live snow report from this area. We'll have to see how that goes. I'm getting out of here, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to David Lynch for giving us all the great movies and Twin Peaks, the TV show. And there's a couple other TV shows he did too. On the Air was one. On the Air was a really, really quirky. Crispin Glover was in one of the episodes. Alicia Witt was in one of them. That was a quirky. He's given us so much, David. So, David, here's to you. Here's to everybody. I'll be back next week, next Saturday, by Final Cut TV and Coffee. If there's an update this week, I'll probably come back on for a little bit. If it's just a simple bug fix, I'll still come back on and we'll just talk about it. as we always do. All right, everybody. Thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in. And I will talk. No, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to subscribe over there at the YouTube channel. Makes a big difference. Hit the like button. And I'll see you. If not before, I'll see you next Saturday. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.